Aye, there be many who sail these waters, chasing gold that rusts in their hands, crowns that crumble when the tide turns, and promises that sink the moment the storm rises. They chase comfort, they chase applause, they chase safety. But comfort never built a people. Applause never preserved a covenant. And safety, when purchased with surrender, is just another word for disappearance. We sail by an older map, not drawn by kings who rise and fall, not inked by conquerors who promise order and deliver erasure. This chart was etched by Hashem, Baruch Havurech Shamo, in fire and covenant, in memory and commandment. And if ye the eyes to see and the courage to follow, there'll be treasures in the Torah. As you may know, this is probably one of my favorite holidays. This be the week of Hanukkah. But before we strike the first flame, we must understand where we are in the calendar and why this voyage this week is different than all the others. This is not a regular week. This is Hanukkah. Hanukkah is one of the rare moments when the weekly Torah portion steps aside, not because Torah pauses, but because Torah demands that we remember. Torah demands that we remember what happens when it is attacked. Hanukkah is not a celebration of comfort. It is a memorial to courage. It does not ask, do you feel inspired? It asks, what did you refuse to surrender? This is not the story of oil. This is what survived after the danger passed. This is the story of what happened before, when the Torah was outlawed, when covenant was criminalized, when being a Jew was no longer neutral. Each light we kindle tonight makes a decision, not made all at once, not shouted from rooftops, but chosen again and again, one act at a time. The way faith actually survives. And before we light, we bless. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotov v'yetzanu v'yihadeknu shel Hanukkah. And now we light. With this first light, we declare something simple and dangerously hopeful, that even in deep darkness, light still exists. One flame, ner echad, not enough to chase away every shadow, but enough to say, darkness does not own the sea. With this second light, we honor life itself. See, this vessel that we do our weekly meetings at is made of wood. The ceiling hangs low above my head, and there is a loyal deckhand aboard with sharp ears and little patience for open flame. Torah teaches Pechuta Nefesh, the preservation of life, overrides ritual. Faith is not proven in recklessness. Torah never asked us to burn the vessel down to prove that we still believe. Life comes first. Now let's slow down and speak plainly about the ones whose name we chant, but whose stories we too often rush. The Maccabees was not an army. They were first and foremost a family, a priestly household from the small town of Moadin. Matisyahu and his sons, watching their world disappear piece by piece. Not all at once, not with chaos, but carefully, legally, politically. Shabbat observance was outlawed, circumcision declared a crime, Torah study was punished, altars to Greek gods were created, not in foreign capitals, but in Jewish streets, until finally the temple itself was defiled. And when Matisyahu was commanded to offer a sacrifice to another god, he refused. Not quietly, not symbolically. He refused publicly, in public. And with that refusal, a time changed. A line was drawn in the sand that could not be erased. Hanukkah exists because somebody finally said, no more. With this third light, we dedicate ourselves anew to the Torah. But do not mistake dedication for sentiment. The Maccabees did not fight because they wanted political independence. They fought because Torah was being redefined. Greek culture did not demand atheism, it demanded translation. Commandment into metaphor. Obedience turned into only an option. Covenant into culture. And the Maccabees answered with clarity. Torah is not negotiable. This is the heart of Hanukkah. Not oil, but refusal. There were events that happened. The decrees of Antiochus was not random. They were systematic. One culture, one law, only one acceptable way to exist. Judaism stood in the way because it would not bend. The Maccabees were labeled extremists for insisting covenant was not subject to empire. They fought outnumbered. They fought without guarantees. They fought knowing that many Jews had already chosen comfort. And yet, they fought anyway. Because some lines cannot be crossed. Some commands, some edicts, some plans cannot be changed. And some lines cannot be crossed. So as Jews, we spent this time during the Maccabean revolt in hiding. We were covering who we truly were, hiding in shadows. The time of hiding has come to an end. With this as we light this fourth light, we stand unashamedly in our faith and our belief, and we realize that we are taking a stand. We are saying no more. With this fifth light, we honor what the Maccabees restored. They did not just reclaim territory, they reclaimed visibility. They reopened the temple. They cleansed what compromise had polluted. They rededicated the sacred space. The miracle of oil matters only because they were still Jews willing to light it. The whole reason we have a holiday, the whole reason we celebrate the 8 days of oil when there was only enough to burn for one day, wouldn't have mattered at all if there were no Jews left to light the menorah in the first place. Had they chosen silence, there would have been no menorah to fill. Milah Hashemai, Milah Hashem Eli. That cry preserved Judaism, not as a footnote inside somebody else's empire. It preserved our beliefs. Our Sephardic hero of the week is Rabbi Moshe ben Mamian, the Ramban. Born in Cordoba, Spain, driven into exile, was told to convert, hide, or die. That was the choice that played before him. Yet, from exile, he gave the Jewish people clarity, the Mishnah Torah, so Jews could live faithfully even when teachers were scattered. The guide for the perplexed, so faith would not collapse under foreign philosophy. And when Ramban ruled on Hanukkah, he was unambiguous. The light must be seen. La Farshem Hanes, public, visible, undeniable. So, as we sit here, the question remains, what does Hanukkah ask of us now? Why is it important? After all, people in the culture, people in the world just call it Jewish Christmas, right? But Hanukkah is not a children's holiday. It became one only after the danger passed. Hanukkah was born when being a Jew was costly. So it asks us now, what does it mean to be a Jew when it costs you something? People say, why don't you just wear this in your heart? Why don't you just fold up your kippah, put it in your pocket, and wear it in your heart? Because God knows your heart. And you wearing the signs of your faith that makes people uncomfortable, right? This is what they mean. Just don't show it. Keep it hidden, locked away. But Torah never commanded us to be invisible. Uri utim oto, you shall see them. So many of our traditions stem upon seeing and remembering. But here's the rub. If your life is truly in danger, removing visible signs is wisdom. If you're about to get out of your carriage and you see people with signs and burning Israeli flags, this would not be a good time to prance around and say, Am Israel Chai, and with your kippah and your tzitzits hanging out. If you arrive at some place hostile and violent, our obligation as followers of Torah is to protect life. That is the key message of the Torah. But discomfort is not danger. Wanting to blend in is not wisdom. That was the Greek bargain. And Hanukkah exists because Jews refused to walk that path. Torah is not proven by grand gestures alone. It is proven in daily faithfulness, at the door, on the road, in the quiet moments when no one is applauding. One flame is brave. Many flames together change the sea. And so it is with the way of Hanukkah. When it starts, it is one meager light with one meager shamish at the top. It doesn't repel a lot of light. It does not repel a lot of darkness. It gives a little bit of light. But this represents faith. With each passing day, our light gets more intense. And when we share our faith, we add light to the Hanukkah. And before we know it, we are living our job as being light bearers to the world. But it always starts with one candle, with one light. Be the brave one who decides to light your candle in the darkness. If this light speaks to you, leave a word below. And ahinene, share the light, subscribe, sail with us. It is important to leave comments. Otherwise, we don't know who's watching and who's enjoying this. So please leave a comment below. Please subscribe. Next voyage, Voyage, and Judah approached. Next week, we sail into Voyage with Rabbi Yitzhak Lura the Ari. So I wanted to take a moment and thank you, me crew, for tuning in. I hope that you have a fantastic Hanukkah. I hope that you are allowed by Hashem to go into situations where you can share your light with the world unashamedly. Because remember, The reason why we have the commandments that we do is because we are to be seen. Because when we see, we remember. May the wind in your sails be filled with Hashem's righteousness, and may the evil urge plunge straight into Davy Jones's locker. Happy Hanukkah. Shalom. See you next week.